CryptoStar video about cryptocurrency is booting up. So for those of you who are totally about cryptocurrency, you can clearly select and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest updates about cryptocurrency. Okay, on the return, we will discuss the Bitcoin cycle, and we are on a very important day, IS Wednesday. I will explain why, but before that, we will start from the tail of the market. First, as of today, globally, the crypto market is $71 billion, or around 1.903%, but you yourself are considered 19,400 extreme, 1,052 BMW 323i, but 0.31 circumstances, 0.42 Solana33.com is the 10th row at a price of $0.06 Soprano because the market is in good shape as there are green ones, there also the red one. Although the decrease and increase are not significant, only less more 0, a few percent Brook, while from some of the existing figures, let's go first to some of the latest news and data today. First, by sport, if you already know that today we will have CEFA data from the United States, 07:30 p.m., it's time for West Indonesia crepes later. So for example, if you want to monitor things, I will most likely hold a lag tonight, maybe around 6.37. I'll start until we'll see what happens when this CV data is released. The eggs are usually raised at 8.8%. AC is still 0.2% higher than the previous figure, which was at 8.6%, while for core inflation, which was at 5.7 the preview or previously, it was raised to 6%, so we LLC tonight what happened about whether Cephade will come back will give us a surprise with Bro. Maybe the increase is a bit more than expected, or we will see a decrease from the Dallas TPI. Of course, it will be a booster for the stock market and crypto. But accordingly, we won't know before it comes out, so don't miss it. Tonight we will live together steadily, okay? Next time, very small change, Strider Knowles is full, so we do see that the wife is currently getting some kind of ice resistance, and we have seen several signs that the US dollar has experienced a slight weakening of the policy momentum. We will discuss later what we will check. What is happening right now, even if you see today's chalk, yes, we don't have chords like this anymore, but the staff has started going up again, but we'll discuss it later. There's one factor that I think is quite interesting, and then there's one person named Danko Franz who says good how likely reset time to move on NDX, 7 Ghost, and the Straits means that even though we see an ease. The correction is not much, but it usually makes the sporty class assets, stocks and cryptos increase quite a bit. Hey, let's look down. There are still a few beats delivered once data, which in my opinion is also quite eye-opening, where we see every time we enter the bear market, the long-term holders are usually going underwater or in a state of loss for a year. And guys, it's like even though we may have reached the bottom blackmarket.com, we still have a long process before we finally building upward momentum and reach a new major. And if we look at the historical total, usually Tom holders' money will hold approx. If in 2014-2015 it was 402 days, they should be in a state of loss before finally they can see the profit in the portfolio. Meanwhile, for the 2018-2019 cycle, we see that watching holders have to hold on for about 328 days before we see any order profit. For now, the calculation is actually not too significant. We have only entered 51 days. So if, for example, history is an indication, or we can use it as an indication of their indicator, we should still have almost 300 more days, guys. Okay, to be in a state of loss, we start to control your condition partially before finally we can expect profit to occur in the portfolio of the long-term folders, and in percentage terms, for now we still haven't reached the area what happened in the past when we entered bottom market. If you look at 2014-2015, we thought when we reached bottomblackmarket.com, we saw that the long-term folder was 50% in high. Okay, so half of the young Tom holders are all in loss state in 2014-2019. We look, even 50% of the 52% of all long-term holders are in a loss state. As for the ones in 2020, when we dropped quite badly due to the intense Povinal Blackstone event, we see that 20% of the holders are in your condition now. For now, we are at the number is 30% because high. So for this data, it also tends to be more pro to the thesis that we still have room to drop so before we finally reach magnetic bottom this time. Okay. Already the first article, Now the next one is submitted here, Bitcoin price indicator and mark notification, and to extend bottom is flashing. So there is one more indicator, guys, who are considered to be quite accurate in judging BATM from a bear market, and historically it has been proven to be accurate. And of course, once again, indicators like this can sometimes be no longer valid, as we can see in Lord Derwake moving average, e.g. for example, where every big cycle we enter BATM, the bear market is always stuck in the best god, moving Everest. But for the first time in history, we started diesel. This time we were able to maintain under God. The discharge has a fragment, so the words where we enter the headquarters are about being stuck in God prefers moving averages. They are no longer used. So something similar can happen here. But of course, if we look at historically, the status is still 100%. Yes, in judging BATM from a bear market, there is no guarantee that this will happen again. If, for example, we look at the 2015 cycle, when the two exponentials may be Everest crossover, okay, we find BATM from a bar market here, you are high, then the same thing is happening again in the 2018-2019 cycle times. The crossover here is between God 2 exponential moving averages here. How do you start my green line above, then crossing down? It also marks the brick M at that time, okay? And for the third time in the history of Bitcoin, we are again seeing a crossover happening between the two exponential moving averages here. What is the question is this time we will also repeat the same. Think how many times it happened before. Oh, I see. But this is just an additional piece of information for you to know quickly, that you are also users of indicators like this, that we have now done the Chi crossover. And actually, if we combine some indicators that are always so good that they can predict the stem of a bar market on average, it actually shows that we have diarrhea under value, or if not in BATM, it's okay. That's why some people are starting to stop doing dollar cost averaging high, because according to them, even though we can say it will drop further, maybe 12,000 RP, 10,000, they will just keep praying, cause everything. There's no need to worry about guessing where the meeting is. Basically, if we're already in the undervalued area, it's like Sissel's staff until we meet the stem and I get the best average price. Quite an interesting indicator that there is a survey saying that 60% of people say they believe more that Bitcoin will drop to IDR 10,000 than people who believe that Bitcoin will hit 30,000 first. Okay, so 60 to 40. So if we can see in current market sentiment, of course, tends to be more in the right direction. Yes, and you will probably rarely meet people now who say that Bitcoin will go up again to the new main. There is nothing like that. Everything is average, only between assuming we will drop further from here or we will get released first before we drop any further. There are only two dominant camps now. We rarely meet people now who say that from here we will go straight back to old timea, which is and heading to 1,000 is not that rare, right? So we show that the central market is still in its infancy. The situation is very Paris. Okay, so the last one is data that is rarely discussed. But I think this is quite important, and I think Ottavio Costa explains it quite well in the last 5 past years over time. You club imported the food was forced to ease lightning cycle you again today, so the point that is conveyed here is that whenever you crave at that age, you are in a minus state. It always forces the Fed to no longer raise interest rates and instead lowers interest rates, tends to be okay, or the list stays at the same level before being lowered. This came from 1985 until now. If you guys, this is EEC. The skirt here is the green one, which is below the interval value or interest rate from the United States. So every time we raise interest rates, here you notice it makes the group decline drastically until in the end the prof is in a negative state. The Fed usually goes straight away. It's going to drop or bring the cartridge back down. Hey, here too, the Malay craft activity started to go negative. They also started to reduce it, even though in the end they raised it again. I got here they started to stop reducing because maybe it's a minus. Don't forget Rhea. But if you look here again, when the geography is still in a pretty bad state again, they cut their interest rates by high here too. We see Yovia negative Dan Karen. We again see the Fed lowering interest rates, although not immediately, so that if here we see he stagnates for some time before finally being lowered to it's the same here again. When we see the preview in a negative situation, we also see the Fed reducing interest rates, and if, for example, this is repeated by David, of course this can be a positive catalyst as well, which means people will start stacking again, going into crypto keys, and of course this can't be guaranteed. But historically, it seems that's what the Fed has always done in the last 300 years when a Juno calf who was in a negative situation could force the to lower interest rates again or ethnicity holds at the same level high due to concerns now, of course, because apart from the contractionary tending, we also see the Fed aggressively, continuously raising interest rates, which makes the market a bit spherical, not a little more. But something looks pretty good, and it keeps dropping. But if, for example, we see the Fed change course in from what was initially quantitative lightening, then increased interest rates, and then changed again to quantitative easing, and then lowered interest rates, it could make us see another reversal happening in the stock and crypto markets. But is there a Munoz area? But hopefully we can see this happen, especially as a person that crypto investor, yes. We want to see crypto come back to shape me. You just want to make it to old-timey Embaru. Okay, San Hi, there are some news coming today, MPSS, conveyed to you now. Let's go first to Cord, and this is the chat US dollar B from Chile after first. Let me tell you what I'm looking at here. Okay, I want to look for something fresh. It has happened repeatedly when we enter the top of local talk in US dollar. There is one PTN that keeps repeating. Which end are we going to make a vector first, okay or not? Gold wrap, whatever you want to call it, before finally we got a big correction last time, where last like if you look here, we reached the top, the made one fake out two fact of then, we drop okay. This is also accompanied by the presence of Stevens here, as well as we go up set of the up here, makes one V count, then we drop a. This is also accompanied by a divergent line here. We are also repeating the same thing, okay, we are going up consolidation. High, then we think we can also repeat the same thing here or here between us, making 1/2 factor first before finally we'll get a correction in US dollar, okay? And as stated in the article earlier, that although he always gets a drop that he doesn't know is significant, okay? But it's corrected like this. For example, it's enough for class assets to understand stocks and crypto to get decent reliefs, not to op megs, but decent reliefs, okay? Maybe 30 set 40%, it could happen, okay? And that's the energy I see now if, for example, the short story SB is very similar between what happened here, okay? And what happened here, guys, we found a significant increase here, then accompanied by consolidation, then last post up, and here we are make one V coat, then form a double top here. Yes, we Brogdon with his sister. We also press a significant increase in the comment consolidation, even though this is a smaller version than the one here, then we make a loss push up, and what we are waiting for is a fact out once or twice. It could be like this twice or this once before we finally get the correction, okay? So that's what I'm seeing now, Disia, and maybe we can see this happen today or tomorrow, because once again CV data will be released tonight. One day is likely to make the market in a fairly volatile state. For example, if we look at the Bitcoin cord, then we can look at the Delicat first. Please, guys. Hi, daily cord, we can see that Bitcoin is actually still struggling to make the bullish momentum return. Keeps loading high, okay, and what we see now, if for example on a smaller time frame, then actually we've been a little bit under this trend. Bro, okay, we've swallowed a little program, which is certainly not a good indication. As long as we can afford Mintang, we're brought by trainees, of course. My set tends to go to Paris, right? But you need to remember that we will have very important data coming tonight. Even if you get a set up here, make sure you are closed or you are desperate to wait until the warden is released at your stop loss athlete. You have to determine because the movement of GGCP is once I am again, guys. Usually it's going to zigzag like that, so both the good ones and the big sells get hit on average. High, so for example, if you intend to force trading like that from now until tonight, try to make sure you already know that 730 will pass the TPI, which usually makes the difference is quite a trace, so maybe it's safer if before Sydney comes out, okay, or maybe you're only 3 when the CV will be released. So simple. Now, guys, congratulations. We can afford this trend. I'm going to tend to be more in the right direction, even more so if, for example, later I'm given maybe I can use this PT.BRS continuation as a set of short, but if, for example, I'm not given it that time, then I will prefer to wait. After the Sydney data comes out, and then I look again at the market, which direction I want to go, and from there I just look for the reason again. Because the decline that has occurred here is like that. Even if it doesn't keep happening, it keeps dropping here, but it's not accompanied by a thick, loud volume, high, and what I want to see is if, for example, we are Androck further, I want to see the drop is quite severe, Kai, then it's accompanied by Peter's contingent, and from here I'll join the shop now. But if, for example, later the CV data comes out surprising, Najida sees the market stop to recover again, then we make a bullish continuation pattern, which means the breakdown here is a fake breakdown, means we, or I personally, will flip Kara bullish when we get the POM here. then accompanied by maybe bullish continuation pattern, and the target is of course in the mini market. Around Franklin here, hey, so it depends on what the release looks like then. What protection is this also shown to me? And from there, I might just do it again or look for another setup. And if, for example, you are friends who will watch live tonight, Ringo will probably know what I'm going to do. So for now, that's all I need to say. I think, guys, once again, as long as we are able to keep up with this trend, I'm likely to be okay. But if, for example, we can afford the reclaimer, yes, I personally tend a neutral situation. If, for example, we have allowed Peter's contingent, maybe I can bring a slight flip towards bullish. So it's as simple as that. The story is just waiting what the market gives me, the software. Of course, we still haven't got any indication that the bosses will come back. My mind will tend to be the best first I'm done. It doesn't mean I immediately got a short notice. I also have to wait for the setup. So if the time is given, I'll take it. But if it's not given, I prefer to wait, then I'm trapped and I don't know where to go. Okay? So that's it for the day. Guys, thanks for watching until the end. Hopefully today's video is useful and we will meet again in the next video. Bye bye.